Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll be doing a review on the Hit and Move Premium All Day Pro Fight Gloves. So check it out. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the Hit and Move All Day Premium Pro Fight Gloves. Got mine in the black and metallic red colorway in 10 ounces. You can also get this in 8 ounces, as well as a blue and metallic red colorway. Lace-up closure only. Obviously, it's a fight glove, so it doesn't come in Velcro. If you are interested in larger sizes or you do want a Velcro closure, you can check out the Hit and Move website, and they have their training and sparring gloves that will probably suit what you're looking for. Now, Hit and Move is a company based here in the United States. I believe they're out of Virginia. They design and engineer their equipment here in the United States, and the equipment is manufactured in Pakistan. I've done a review on their training gloves as well as their Pro Fight gloves in the past, as well as their reflex station that you can use. It's basically like a spar bar with a spinning bar. And this particular Pro Fight glove, they've kind of, I wouldn't say renovated it, but they've added some features on it that I prefer over their previous fight gloves. It's a little bit more rigid and more protective, and I definitely like the foam padding and the liner that they use in this particular Pro Fight glove for their all-day series of fight gloves. Now, looking at the glove, it does have more of a compact profile to it, like most Pro Fight gloves should. It utilizes full genuine leather construction. The leather on here has more of a semi-gloss finish to it. You have the Hit and Move logo that goes down vertically on the back of the glove. You do have a flat cuff, the 10-ounce weight tag, as well as a matte gold piping around the cuff of the glove. It utilizes their proprietary padding called dart padding, which is, I'd say, right in the middle in terms of the stiffness. It's not overly stiff, it's not super soft and broken in like a puncher's glove. And it almost has the characteristics of it is almost like a memory foam. If you kind of push down on it, you can actually see that it almost takes shape of my fingers when I push down. And I really love the way this padding they use on here feels, and you can definitely tell they've taken their time in trying to figure out the right combination of foams to use to give yourself a good amount of pop feedback but protection. And that's kind of always what boxers, it's almost like the never-ending pursuit of looking for that perfect padding, right? We're always looking for the next best thing when it comes to padding, and getting that pop and that bang that we're looking for when you're using it on the heavy bag or whatever you're hitting, the mitts, or even in sparring, but at the same time having a good amount of protection. So it's always that fine balance with that. And I definitely like that padding they use on here. And you can tell it's not too stiff, it's not too soft, it's right there in the middle in terms of the feel. And we'll kind of discuss that here in more detail in a second. You do have the split thumb on the piping, on the split seam on the thumb, excuse me. So that obviously if you had two different leather colors, you would have it right there, but you went with just one solid color with the black. You do have an attached thumb. On the palm side, you have ventilated holes on the right above the grip bar, as well as on the thumb. The grip bar is a good size. I'd say it's pretty large, and it has a good amount of density to it. One thing about this metallic, the leather they have on here, it has more of a foil-like look to it. You can see how the light kind of reflects off the metallic, which I prefer. And I think maybe it's just the way that they attach this metallic to the leather. I'm not sure if it's bonded differently, because a lot of metallics over time, in pretty much the vast majority, if not all the metallic gloves I've used in the past, which I've used a ton, will start to fade. It's much quicker than the solid colors, and just by nature, this is how they're designed and it's manufactured. It just doesn't hold up, especially to sweat, heat, and just the elements. So I find that the metallic they use on this one has more of a foil-like consistency, and it actually adheres better and keeps its color and shine better than your standard metallic. So I definitely like the way this looks and feels in terms of the feel of the metallic they use here. You also have, again, the matte gold for the piping, nice long flat black laces, Hit and Move on that side of the wrist, genuine leather, designed in the United States. You have the United States flag. And then the back of the wrist, I'd say, is maybe about a ½ inch of firm, probably like EVA padding. And the inside wrist also has that same firm padding. It goes up to right about here on the outside edge of the wrist, and then right here on the inside. One thing they also improved is the liner. It's a little bit more of a rugged satin nylon liner on the inside right there, and really good, and it feels cool to the touch. So when you slide your hand in here, it doesn't feel hot. Now, there's always the two types of liners that you typically see in most gloves. You either have like this nylon liner, that satin feeling, or you have that tricot microfiber soft silky liner. And there's benefits to both. I feel like the tricot is nice and it doesn't have that excess material and doesn't bunch up. The only thing is that sometimes it gets a little hot and it can tend to soak up sweat. The benefit of this style is that it feels a little bit cooler to the touch, and it may have a little bit more wrinkles and kind of bunch up a little bit more, but it kind of dissipates heat a little bit better. And then that tricot microfiber style, in my opinion. Quality of these gloves are actually really nice. I mean, I feel that a lot of these gloves that are coming out now, the market is, there's so many different manufacturers and models out there that in order to stay competitive and to really bring your best out, you really have to push the limits of, you know, quality and the quality control, the QC, right? You have to make sure that whatever products you're putting out there is top notch, because if you don't, there's another company right down the road from you that is doing the same thing and maybe even better in taking that little details. But you know, the padding is great on this. That's probably my favorite feature, is the padding, aside from this metallic foil type of leather they use on the palm side. But you can see the stitching looks really good. No issues with like any kind of bubbling or inconsistency with the leather, you know. And it's almost like a broken record, I feel like, you know, with gloves like these that are manufactured in Pakistan. They've done so many gloves over the years, probably millions of gloves, that they've really perfected, you know. And I'm sure there's different manufacturers out there in Pakistan, and that you have to be really selective with in terms of who's going to make it and you're putting your name on it. But they've really done a great job of really fine-tuning. I mean, you can see the stitching looks good where the thumb meets the index finger. These were 10.5 and 10.6 ounces. So in terms of glove weight, they're pretty much spot on with each other. They're about a ½ ounce overweight. But for me, I'm just going to be using these primarily just for training. As far as for a sanctioned glove, I'm not too sure what the disparity is, how far off of weight you can be if it's considered a 10-ounce glove for a fight, if 0.5 ounces is going to be acceptable for that. So you can see, you know, all the edges look good, the seams look done well, the stitching is done nicely, all the logos are symmetrical on both sides of the glove. You know, the thumb, the seams look good, no exposed stitching, the hinge point looks good, weight distribution's on point, so you can grab literally the very back edge of the glove and you don't have any issues with the glove actually sagging down, so that's good. Right here is the edges of the white piping right here, so you can see that's done real clean as well. And the inside liner is nice, no issues with any kind of exposed foam or anything there. Fingertip compartment, all the leather's bonded properly. All that looks clean. Holes are punched out where they need to be punched out. I know this kind of seems kind of nitpicky, but one of my big pet peeves is whenever they punch holes out on gloves or even on boxing shoes and they don't punch it all the way out and you have just little pieces of leather sticking in there. And to me, it's like, all right, well, if you punched it out, just pull that little piece of, I mean, how much more would it be to pull the little piece of leather out of the hole? And it's almost like they're lazy. They'll poke it through and just let it just dangle. So, yeah, a little attention to detail, right? I mean, if you see a piece of equipment or gloves or shoes, and you could tell that they poked holes in there to add some little bit of ventilation, but they weren't detailed enough to actually pull a little piece of leather that they poked out, then it kind of makes you wonder, like, what else would they skip out on, you know? That's just my thought process on that. But overall, the quality on these are very nice. You know, comfort, that's the big thing, right? I mean, for me, that's my number one thing is comfort, because if the glove's not comfortable, I'll probably end up shelving it and not even use them. But these are very comfortable. One thing you'll notice compared to the previous fight gloves is I definitely love the liner on here. It is very smooth and it feels very cool to the hand and durable. The thumb positioning is perfect. You couldn't really ask more for a perfect thumb. The piping on here isn't too tight. The length of the thumb is perfect. It doesn't jam. When you make a fist, you can see that the thumb attachment doesn't pull down on the tip to where it folds over. I had that issue with the fly gloves, is where it would pull down and my thumb would just jam. And you wouldn't really feel it so much when you're just holding the gloves on your hands, is when you would actually land a punch on the bag, because your hand shifts just a little bit every time you punch inside the glove. So when you make contact and it pushes the glove in towards your arm, that's when you would actually feel like my thumb jam in there. With these, you don't have any issues with that. The gloves are pretty well broken in, so I definitely love that. The depth of the finger compartment is perfect. And there is exposed stitching right here, so it would have been nice to have a little bit of a neoprene or felt to cover the stitching on the finger compartment. The width, though, is perfect, not too wide, not too small. And you can see that it has a nice deep finger compartment, so you can land on those two front knuckles. The wrist support feels really good. I do like the fact that they use kind of like an EVA foam on the wrist to give you a good amount of support, even for a fight glove, because not everybody's going to use fight gloves for a sanctioned bout. They're going to use it for their training. So I feel like you still should give whoever is going to be using these gloves the option to have some protection on their wrist, even though it is a fight glove. Now, keeping in mind, you also want to make sure that you're balancing out the weight to make sure it's the proper amount of weight. But overall, these gloves are extremely comfortable and feel real nice. Now, protection and performance as well. I know I keep talking about the padding, and that's probably one of my favorite things about this glove, if not my favorite, is you can land some really good shots with these gloves. And if you're really looking for a fight glove, something that's 8 to 10 ounces that you can use for training, then these are definitely a great choice for that, because they're compact, so I know you can work on precision work. You can also work on the heavy bag and not worry about injuring your hands. It has a really good feel of compression, and the more it compresses down, you can definitely feel your knuckles land where you want them to land, but it definitely protects and doesn't feel like it's just like a horsehair glove to where your knuckles just go right through it, and it's almost like you're using a bag mitt where your knuckles it's basically just your knuckle on the punch surface. So I definitely love the way these feel. Good bang on the mitts. They feel good using these on the bag, and overall a really good training glove. Oh, you know what? I missed one thing when it comes to quality, and I just saw this right now, and I didn't know why I mentioned it earlier. So just little details. Again, you can actually see like a little mark of glue right there on the grip bar. So again, little details like excess glue. That might have been just like them working on it and a little bit of glue dripped on there. But again, just quality control. Before the glove goes out, these are things that should be inspected and removed before that goes out. But you can see there's a little bit of like dried up glue right on here. So maybe they were inserting the liner, doing something on the inside, and a little bit of glue dripped on there. So something I figured I mentioned. Now, cost-wise, these gloves are a little bit on the high side. They're $199. You know, at full price, I think these gloves are a little bit on the high side. And the only reason I say that is because of what they're up against. You know, they're great gloves, but I think these are more of like a $150 to a $170 glove, all things considered. I think they're really great for training. I think they're really comfortable and the liner feels good, but just a little bit on the high side when it comes to price. There's other gloves out there. Now, granted, I know qualities I'm not going to be comparable, but sometimes it's the comfort that kind of makes up for it, and the overall feel of the glove. So there's gloves out there like the Guerreros, which I favor in terms of comfort, like my hand just making a nice tight fist with those, and those I think are like $179 or $169. I think even $149. I know Phenom makes some gloves that are in the $200 range as well. So I think these are kind of like a $150 to $170, and it's like perfect sweet spot for these type of gloves. But overall, really impressed with these Hit and Move all day fight gloves. And if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these pro fight gloves. I'll see you guys later. Take care.